How did your twin betray you? I've always dreamed of being like my brother, because ever since I was a child, I wanted nothing more than for my parents to love me. So while other kids were running around outside or playing with trucks, I was always at home, trying to scrub every floor and surface until they were spick and span, trying to somehow figure out my mom's at-home filing system so I could help. But each time I got the same result. They'd come home and praise my twin brother instead of me. Wow, Logan, we're so proud of you for motivating your brother Leo to do this. He'd then receive some sort of gift, an outing, sweets, while I got scolded for not doing more. And you know that quote from BoJack Horseman? It goes, when you tell someone they're bad long enough, they start to believe it. Well, I was believing it all right. Not just that I was bad, that Logan had something I didn't, that he was someone I needed to prove myself to. So in high school, when I got the scholarship to a college nearby, I was ecstatic. I felt like I was flying. I practically ran down the stairs to tell Logan and my parents. But instead of hugging me or telling me they were proud, or at least a simple well done, they looked angry. I thought steam was actually going to come out of Logan's ears. I went completely silent, and the room erupted. Are you effing serious right now? My dad roared, with his knuckles clenched by his side. How could you do this to us? My mom added, with tears welling in her eyes. Meanwhile, Logan was just death staring me with his arms crossed. You see, Logan had applied to the same one, and since I was the one to get it, my parents actually believed that I had stolen it from him. I sneakily wiped the tears from my eyes so they wouldn't see how upset I was. They continued shouting at me, so I just walked up to my room. I left the door slightly open to eavesdrop. They unanimously agreed that I must have plagiarized or cheated, that there was no other explanation for why I would get in, and Logan wouldn't. We don't raise cheaters in this house! There was so much anger and hate in my dad's voice that I was actually scared. After that, they started whispering to each other, but I had heard enough, and ended up going to bed early, or trying to at least, because the guilt kept me awake. I thought back to all the hours I put into studying, and all the hours Logan put into partying, how I should have convinced him to work, how I could have helped him make better decisions. My heart broke, and in that moment, I felt like the worst brother to ever exist. I regretted ever applying, but my decision was about to be reversed, because after a few days of receiving the silent treatment at home, my guidance counselor pulled me in for a meeting. She told me she was ashamed of me, and she wished she never helped me. I didn't even know what she was talking about, and I was already crying, but then she explained. Apparently, they had received a formal plagiarism complaint, with screenshots of documents that made it clear my work was someone else's. I started seeing the room with tunnel vision. I could hear my heartbeat all around my body. I was like a deer in headlights. She just looked at me with disgust. I sighed and walked out. I was done. Yes, I felt guilty, but I still earned that opportunity, right? And that's when I got the notification. It was from my dad, telling me not to come home. Cool. So I walked to my godfather's house, feeling a mixture of shame and anger. I expected to be somewhat uplifted, but when my godfather Jack opened the door, my heart completely sunk, because he gave me a huge smile, and I realized it was the first genuine smile I'd received in years. So I couldn't help myself. I cried into his shoulder. He brought me inside, and I told him everything. Parents, Logan, college. He didn't say much, just nodded. I was just happy to have someone to listen to me. That day was so exhausting that I could barely stay awake anymore, and I ended up falling asleep soon after. When I woke up, it was pitch black outside, and the house was quiet. My phone was dead, and I wanted to know what time it was. So I crept upstairs to use Jack's phone while he slept. It automatically unlocked, and I saw he had been in contact with my parents. So, like any respectful 17-year-old boy, I read their conversation. Well, before I opened up, Jack had no idea what my parents were up to. He just knew that I was coming. But my parents had lied and said I was going through a rough patch. And after I told him the truth, it was clear he was angry. Because his texts were, well, let's just say they were very unfriendly. But as I kept reading, I couldn't help but smile. Because it was the first time someone had ever stood up for me before. And I didn't know it at the time. But Jack was going to do a lot more than send some angry texts. And soon, my parents would be the ones filled with regret. The rest of the full story is on my channel and linked below.